Hello and welcome everyone to the ninth episode of SEO Surgery in India. I'm your host Nitin Manchanda, and we have three amazing guests with us today. So we have Udit Goenka, we have Khushal Khan, and we have Anna. And along with these three amazing guests, we have three amazing websites as well. So we'll be talking about these websites in a while. So before that, I would love to thank you guys for your amazing response once again. So you submitted a lot of websites, showed amazing response, and we are really, really looking forward to add some value for you guys today in this 1 hour. So now, without wasting any time, I would like to move to the introductions. And this time, I'm not going to introduce them at all. So I always say I'm not going to introduce, but still I say one or two lines about them. But now this time, I want to keep it to themselves only. So let's start with Anna. So yeah, Anna, would you please introduce yourself now?
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name's Anna. I work at Base Creative. We're a digital agency, digital engagement agency in London. I'm head of search there, and I tend to help people out with the strategic side of search. So how to position themselves and how to use search engines to make the most of, to fulfill their goals. So that's kind of my thing.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And Anna will be talking about indiashops.com in a while. So for now, let's move to the next expert, who is Khushal Khan. So Khushal, can you please introduce yourself now?
Hi, guys. First of all, thank you so much to Semrush for giving us the opportunity to actually, share our expertise from an SEO perspective through all the people in India, especially regarding the websites that were sent across to us. So I work as a search consultant at Resignal. It was formerly called BlueGlass, but we recently rebranded. So if you guys need any, gear like hoodies or T-shirts, just give me a shout out and I'll send you one. We're a performance-based company. We do SEO and content marketing, more heavily towards content marketing side. And I help the agency and our clients with coming up with proper recommendations to ensure that their content marketing and SEO best practices are in line so that they can get the best out of their websites.
Thank you so much, Khushal. It's a pleasure to have you. And Khushal will be speaking about getinstacash.in in a while. So now let's move to the last but not the least expert. And this guy doesn't need any introduction, I guess, if you're from India. He's like a rock star there. And but anyway, I mean, some people probably would love to know more about you. So Udit, now you can go.
Firstly, I would really thank Semrush the opportunity for having me on the show. I think this is for the first time I'm coming on the Semrush show. So just a bit about myself. My name is Udit Goenka. I'm based out of India, and I have one of the headquarters in Los Angeles as well. Currently, I operate three different businesses right now. The first one is known as Power Up Hosting, which is doing currently around $2.9 million in ARR right now. The second one is my SEO company, which is based out of India, which is GoPBN. We are one of the top few providers out there to provide PBN hosting services, and we were recently featured on Gaps as well. And at the same time, like we are very heavy into like the PBN aspects of the business. And the third one is something that I recently started, which is known as PitchGround, that helps to connect the SaaS founders with early adopters. So
cool. That sounds amazing. Thanks for that. And again, I mean, it's great to have you. And I would love to speak to you about, this PBN. It's a really interesting and hot topic these days. I would love to speak to you about this. So one of my professional friend, Craig Campbell.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. So he wrote an article about black hat SEO versus white hat SEO. I would highly recommend everyone to go through that if you haven't yet. And so that is something which kind of pushed me to go more about this and read more about this area. So I would definitely love to speak with you on that.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much once again, Audit. It's a pleasure to have you here. And now I would love to know about the key, your focus areas about SEO these days, guys. So there are a lot of things which are going around. So what are the areas that you're focusing on? So Udit, maybe you can go first this time.
One of the important aspects that I always see that most of the people are really stressing about are backlinks, and they're pushing so much and talking so much about backlinks, but they forget that um, one of your most important aspects of your business is your own website. So you need to first take care of your own website. You need to make sure your technical audit is correct. You need to make sure your on page is correct. And if these elements are correct, the way Google is heading towards artificial intelligence, your contents is something that will be driving majority of the traffic as long as you have taken care of everything on the website. And so that I feel is extremely important. Second, you have to start optimizing your contents around voice searches. That's something that's extremely important. And I think like 2019 will be all about like voice searches pretty much.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the way it's growing in the US, it's tremendous. I mean, definitely it's gonna rule the world in the next 2-3 years. So definitely, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. So Khushal, you wanna go next?
Yeah, I mean, from an SEO perspective, I recently moved to London. I was in Dubai before, and probably it wasn't that competitive a market as compared to the UK. But what I've seen different here is that the focus on voice search is so much these days that agencies are actually investing a lot of money in coming up with, Alexa and Google Home skills. I mean, within Resignal, we have our own pet project that's going on, which is revolving totally around voice search. And our CEO actually goes to a lot of talks, and he presents heavily on voice search as well. It's not something that we're doing just for the sake of it, because it's trendy and because it's in the market out there, it's in the news, but it's because it's the need of the hour. I personally use Google Home myself for a lot of things. You'd be surprised. And it didn't occur to me that how much I use it unless I actually saw the log in my phone with the activity that was going on. So apart from voice search, obviously, I was in Brighton SEO in the end of September, and I had some really good talks. I would love to share the summary with that, but I mean, of course, I don't have enough time for that. But my focus is primarily revolving around content marketing and to ensure get the best out of it, but at the same time to ensure that the technical aspect, which is something that everybody tends to miss out on, everybody tends to neglect. And the idea to help and convince the development team out there to ensure that those implementations are made. And putting in monetary value to it, just to give them an idea how much impact it has caused on the performance overall, is something that I'm really learning and trying to put it out there.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was interesting. Well, I'll ask. I'll kind of request Semrush to maybe organize a webinar about voice search only with you guys. I mean, you have a lot to talk about that, so why not?
I think Kevin already did one last month with Perna and Nick. So I think that bit's already
exactly.
On that. Yeah.
Maybe another one then. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anna, you're next.
I guess my primary focus is on user intent and just making sure that from a strategic point of view, my clients actually target the correct terms and phrases, just because you just get so many examples of them just coming up with random keywords that they want to rank for on number one. And it's like, have you really thought this through? So it's more about matching user intent and creating content that fulfills that. So that's, I guess, my main focus at the moment. And also just making sure that your website content still carries that brand voice. So when it gets taken out of context, which is going to happen a lot in the future, it still carries your brand ideally your personal tone of voice and those personal signals.
Cool. That sounds interesting. Well, I'm really looking forward to hear what you speak about the website that you have audited. So thank you so much once again. And now I think it's the time to jump to the real content that you all are waiting for. So let's not waste any time and jump to the real websites. But before we do that, I would like to thank you once again for submitting a lot of websites. But as you know, the format of this show, we have picked 3 websites like always. So we have picked indiashops.com, and I will be talking about that. and then we have tarladalal.com, and Udit would be putting some light on that, and then Khushal would be doing getinstacash.in. So let's start with Anna, because I'm really interested hearing how she talks about this website, considering her personal views and areas of interest. So Anna, stage is all yours now.
Lovely. Let me just share my screen with you. Here we go. So my site is indiashops.com. And this is what it looks like. It's an online portal, I guess, that compares prices online of different online retailers and then gives you the best deal on your product. That's the premise. So the first thing that I did was just immediately just ran a crawl on the site. Oh, there we go. Just to see whether kind of the real basics are in place. So looking at page titles and meta descriptions. And as you can see, I mean, it's looking pretty good. There's no missing page titles, which is always good. There's only a very small percentage of duplicates, which is great. But they all do look like they're quite long, sort of for page titles. And the same is true for meta descriptions. It's great that there's not very many missing or duplicate, but again, they seem to be overly long. So that's maybe something to look at. The second thing I did was an audit on Semrush. And as you can see, it looks like they've got a pretty good score from an SEO point of view. So, I mean, from the face of it, it looks like it's actually fairly decently optimized, and there's not too many warnings there. Having a look at the actual warnings, you can see that a lot of them are actually about that no-follow attribute on links, which for this site actually makes sense because they're linking out to third-party online retailers, so it makes sense for them to add a no-follow there. So that's not really anything I'd be concerned about. Obviously, they want to fix that HTTPS problem there. And we've already spoken about the title tags being a bit too long. But then what kind of struck me there was that quite a few pages had low text to HTML ratio in a small section of this crawl, which is something that kind of led me on to, I guess, identifying what I think is the major problem of the site, and that's trust. Which is never a good thing. So let's have a look at some of the trust signals of the site. So this is the homepage, or at least that's the homepage you get for the first second or two before you get hit with this. So you get two pop-ups there on top of each other, which is always lovely. No, it's not. It's terrible. So don't have pop-ups on top of each other. But furthermore, when you actually look at this pop-up here at the top, it's get discounts, latest deals, grab the deal before it's gone, stay informed, allow or later. And I don't know whether it's me, but I don't know what this is supposed to mean. I have no idea what this is for. I assume it's something to do with cookies, but I think any kind of user will be confused about that pop-up and think, well, what am I allowing here? What's this all about? Which isn't a great signal of trust there. And then as soon as I got to close these windows, these pop-ups down, I got hit with this call alert, which warns users of spammy activity, like a scam that uses their brand name. Obviously, understand that they're trying to warn users not to fall for this scam, but it just doesn't build my trust for the site either, especially after getting those pop-ups. And then the thing that struck me across the site in total was that I really doubted that it was actually written for me. It was written for humans. It sounded more like it was actually written for somebody else, maybe not a human. Having a look at a category page here, men's backpacks, you can see a nice big chunk of text there at the top that no real person would actually read. And you can see the amount of links in it. It seems to be quite stuffed with links that they want, keywords that they want to target there, like by using internal links. And then when you actually click on the product pages, this is what you get. So this is a product page description for Adidas women's sports tights, price in India, latest updated on October 2018, compare the prices on different e-commerce websites selling Adidas women's sports tights. And I'm confused because I thought that this was a product description, but it doesn't seem to actually describe the product at all. What it's actually doing is taking, like scraping the product title from the third-party site, I assume, and then adding some arbitrary text that's packed, I would say, with keywords that they obviously want to target on their pages. And then I go to another product page for a dress, and I get exactly the same description. And then I go to another one, and it's exactly the same description, apart from those scraped product titles. And then even when I go to a book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, I'm sure you know the book, Stone. It's a new one there. You get a similar problem because you've got that scraped product title and then an arbitrary description, which is actually there for all books. So while obviously they vary for by product category, they're all following the same pattern, and it's not human readable. It's not interesting for the user at all. And then when you get to these kind of very competitive products like laptops, it gets even worse because you've got the product description in there 2 or 3 times, and then it's packed with lots of technical information, but it gets repeated. So again, it's not human readable. It just seems to be stuffed in there and automatically generated. And the problem is that page titles follow exactly the same pattern. That's why they're so long, because they take those scraped product titles and then they add stuff at the end. And the same with meta descriptions. They take those scraped descriptions and then add stuff. And then I guess what I thought was, if I saw a result like that in the search engine, if it did rank, would I click on that? And the answer is frankly no, because why? It doesn't sound like it's written for humans. Even just looking at the title and description, it sounds terrible. And that made me think, is this really written for people, or is it really actually just written for bots? Is it just written for Google bots and hoping that it will be fooled into ranking this site? So I wanted to just kind of reiterate that point by looking at that men's backpacks page again, and actually looking at the text that's at the top. And I just pulled out a bit. Backpacks help you carry all your essentials in one place. That's great. They're used for various purposes, such as carrying laptops, bags, going for trekking. And so it goes on. You can see that it's not really written in a way that is very easily read. And as I said earlier, it's packed with those terms that they want to target, like laptops, bags, for example. And it just doesn't make good reading. And the same happens on the homepage, where when you scroll to the bottom, you get this giant piece of text there that doesn't actually seem to make a lot of sense. I tried to read all of it, but here's just a little bit of it. Now, if you wish to buy a certain product and want it at the minimum price, then you would just Google it up and end up buying it from the very first or second results. I'm getting confused just reading it to myself now. So I think that language is a very big problem on this site, and also the way the content is positioned. And furthermore, it's completely missing the user intent. So if we have a look at some of the category pages, and these are descriptions from category pages, it becomes quite apparent there. So this one is obviously targeting coats for women price, right? So coats for women and the price online, great. That's what we're targeting. But then what the description is actually trying to convince us that coats are a good thing to have, and we should definitely have at least one in our wardrobe. But from a user's perspective, if I'm searching to compare prices for women's coats, I don't need to be convinced that I need to buy a coat and I should at least own one. I'm just trying to compare prices, so I already want a coat. I don't need to be convinced. Same with laptops. Laptops price list. Again, I'm looking as a user to compare laptops prices or look at a price list for laptops. Yet the description here talks about that laptops are the gadgets that are used by people of all ages, and they are available in different sizes. Oh, well, that's great news. But that's not what I need to know as a user. I want to compare prices here. Same with books. I don't need to have the history of online book selling when I'm looking to compare prices for a specific book. So all of these descriptions seem to be written. I don't really know what for and why they're even there. It just feels like they're just text, so that there's text on the page. They don't seem to actually think of the user at all. And I think that that's the biggest challenge for this site, is to really think about the user intent and the user intent stages that their users are in, that they match with their site, because their site is made to compare products and prices. So that's commercial and transactional intent. And they need to make sure that the users can actually achieve that on their site, and that the text and all of the content on their site actually works for that and is aimed at that. And those intent issues are actually also present in the user experience, and just the confusion about how it actually even works and what the site is for. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, well, it's about comparing prices and then getting the cheapest product. But it seems that users get confused about how it even works. And that's just apparent by the amount of times that this kind of process at the top here is mentioned. So you get it on the homepage, and then when you log in, you've already got an account, you log in, and then you get another pop-up explaining about the process. Now, I've already got an account, so why do they need to explain to me how it works? It kind of indicates that I think that a lot of users are confused about how the website even works and what the premise is. So that, I think that's the biggest problem of the site, the language and the way its content is written now. Any technical implementation will be completely wasted if they don't sort out their content. So that's like number one priority. And then I thought I'll go into a quick fire round of other things I spotted. It's like a little bag of sweets. So don't ask for all the things. In their forms, they ask me for my gender. They don't need to know my gender. Don't ask me. Creating appealing product pages. Again, that kind of flows into the language and content point of view. Nobody in the world will ever browse for women, or like just women. They're looking for specific products. This product page, this category page is far too long. We need to pull out those subcategories straight away so people can go to where they want to be, because they will certainly drop off if they have to scroll all the way down to find their sportswear section. And the same is true for product pages. This is a product page. Underneath that, there's no more product content about the product. There's no unique content on this page. It's only that scraped, terrible description at the top, the scraped product title at the top, and then no content whatsoever. So, I mean, that's a terrible user experience. And from a search perspective, it doesn't offer anything unique around that product. So it's never going to rank. Because obviously somebody would have written more about the product on the original site where it's listed. Now, on the homepage, do we really need all of these banners? Nobody's going to click on them or you look at them. So just get rid of them, and it's going to help you out with your site performance. And also, please stop opening all of those tabs. Just one session looking for one product ended up with 11 open tabs. And I didn't open any tabs myself. It was just the site automatically doing it. And I found that extremely frustrating. And I guess this is a big one. Make sure your site even works. So this site is all about comparing product prices. And then when I actually go in and start comparing the prices of these backpacks and click on compare all, I get lost in the desert. Now, if the whole point of your site is to compare prices, I think you should make sure that your comparison comparison works. Otherwise, users will just leave. There's a huge amount of internal links. On the homepage, we've got well over 700, our category pages, 400 and 272 invalid ones. And then also on the product page, we've got well over 400 links. These need to be reduced down to around 150, just because otherwise you're just going to completely lose the authority of your internal pages. I mean, that's just crazy. And lastly, you need to sort out your site performance. I did a quick lighthouse audit, and although the first meaningful paint looks great, so that's good, it loads under 2 seconds, but time to interactive is huge. It's almost 10 seconds, and latency is also enormous. And the same is true for desktop. So first one is mobile, second one is desktop. And now the consideration is if users are turned, even if they, okay, so the site loads in under 2 seconds, that's great. But if they click on it and it's not usable, then they're going to think it's broken. So that's no good. So you really need to fix those issues. So make sure you run a lighthouse audit. You can do that in Chrome DevTools really easily, and then fix those technical issues. But I guess the main overriding factor is think about the content that is on your website. and make it useful for users, please.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was amazing. I just loved, each and every point that you spoke about. And there was a lot of things about, brand and how, you're taking your brand to the users, which is really, really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think even the website owner, if they're here, they'll be really, really happy to hear all the points. And, I think it's time for them to plan about their content, like how they're putting it, along with many other technical SEO fixes that they need to do. So they're definitely packed for next 6 months. I'm sure. Well, thank you so much, Anna. Now I would like to invite Udit and Khushal if they want to add something for this website, which Anna couldn't cover because of time constraint, or probably that's not her cup of tea. So guys, go ahead. Who wants to go first? Khushal, go ahead.
I mean, from my perspective, I think this site is facing the classic, example of content for the sake of content issue. Just too much index bloat out there, like wasting all the crawl budget on unnecessary pages. I think the title and meta description scraping is something that we see very common among websites like this. It's just more about quality, and I think pretty much all the intent-based and the performance-based was covered in depth by Anna, so I won't need to comment on that. But it's just more a case of how effective and how useful each landing page of the website is from a user perspective, and that is something that I'd like to make sure we work on.
Thank you for adding that, Khushal. Udit, do you have something to add here?
Yeah, sure. I think Anna did a brilliant job in terms of covering every single aspect. But
Indeed.
I would just like to let everyone know that whenever you are writing contents, write it for humans. Don't write it for Google, but optimize it for Google. So that's something that I keep telling everyone every single time, that please, write content, because when someone is landing on your website, and if they're not even able to understand your language, or they're not able to understand what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to do, the entire SEO, the point of doing SEO gets killed off, because you might be having a million traffic, but if you're not making a single sale, what's the point of you investing so much into your SEO? What's the point investing in so much of backlinks? And you're investing in everything, but then you are making that one major mistake of conversion optimization part, where this is where people suffer from sales in the end. So everything on the technical aspect, I think Anna has really covered extremely in depth.
Thank you so much, Udit, for adding that. That's, I think, really priceless. I mean, very minor advice, but really useful. Well, I think there's you're talking about the difference between traffic and high quality traffic. So you can definitely bring a lot of traffic, but then converting that traffic to high quality traffic is what depends on these parameters, like what kind of content you're serving and what kind of experience you have, maybe page performance and many other factors. So definitely it's in your hands to make it high quality traffic from the traffic you generate. So yeah, guys, all in your hands now. All right, so moving to the next website, and that is getinstacash.in, and Khushal will be speaking about that. So Khushal, stage is all yours now.
Cool. So I'll just share my screen. Cool. It's out there. So this is just the landing page for the talk today. So first of all, I got the website getinstacash.in, and I'd be very honest with you, the moment I heard the name, the first thing that came to my mind was it's either about loans, or it's just a financial company that is talking about either remittances or sending money transfers or stuff like that. Then I did a quick search, and what I could see was it's ranking #1 in India for selling mobile phones and smartphones. Now, that didn't make sense initially, but okay, I'll get into that later on. What did surprise me was that within the SERPs, I could see that there are multiple other businesses out there that share a similar loan. I mean, you could see that Instacash loan is one of the product here in one of the banks here. So there's Instacash app, there's Instacash India as well that was I was able to find. So that's just my first thing on the brand name itself. It doesn't actually say what it's supposed to be. Secondly, so I'm gonna demo the website on say from a mobile phone perspective. So I did a quick browse around the site, it looks like a top level kind of a one-pager website, not too much content. I mean, you can see it's just primarily linking to the app, and there's a blog which we would discuss later on. It's pretty straightforward. What our customers speak, well, they speak a lot of different languages, but I don't know if this is something that we should be saying on the website. But apart from that, I mean, from a mobile perspective, it sounds pretty fair and square, but that's fine, I guess. Moving on to like a Lighthouse audit. So I actually utilized the audit based on Google's Nexus 5. So what it does is that it automatically detects your device, and what it does is that it tells you a fare-based price. So it tells you how much your phone is going to go for. So basically, that is something straightforward as well. But I mean, that's not the point. If you check the performance overall, from a performance perspective, it is lacking. I mean, the first contentful paint, it takes ages, and I mean, it's all red lines. I mean, it takes ages to actually deliver an interactive. From an SEO perspective, it's covered pretty well, but I mean, from a performance perspective, it's lacking a lot. It takes quite a lot of time to load. One quick win that seems to be quite trendy, not trendy anymore, is that it is not HTTP2 friendly at all. So there's this quick tool that actually helps you identify whether your site is HTTP2 ready or not. There is a really good presentation by Tom Anthony. He presented that at Brighton SEO last time around in April, I guess. But that's something good to follow. But the really good thing about this is that there are just 3 basic steps of HTTP2. And it's not something that you recommend to the developers. It's just done on a server level. So all you need to do is that the browser should be supporting HTTP2, which most of the browsers like Chrome, Mozilla, and Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer are already covering. But it only works on an HTTPS environment. So, and then obviously you need to have a secure connection between the server and the browser. So that's a quick win. It's a really good step in actually optimizing the overall performance. Now, when I run a site colon the domain search, the first search result that I see is Smart Exchange Zero Waste. Now that caught my eye because it does not talk about cash or mobile phones at all. So I mean, if we just have a look at this site, apparently this website is within this particular domain. Now, I don't know what is Zero Waste connection with getinstacash.in, but it's a full-on interactive website out there. My personal recommendation would be to either get rid of it, no index it. It just doesn't require the attention that it is getting from a homepage perspective. Now, when we go further down the line with the search results, so I'll be talking exactly what Anna mentioned a while ago, that it does not look like it's written for human beings. It's pretty much the same duplication of all the titles. All they've done is just remove the product names, and it's pretty much exact duplicates of titles and meta descriptions all across. So if we just go to this particular page, do a quick technical audit. So I ran a quick technical audit from Semrush perspective, and sorry about that. It only crawled 1,000 pages, but you could see the number of errors and warnings and notices it's getting. The issues are countless out there. You can actually analyze. There are a lot of pages that are that couldn't be crawled. There are so many pages with slow speed. There are so many meta descriptions and duplicate title tags and internal links. There's so much that needs to be done from a basic perspective initially. I even went ahead and further did a deep crawl analysis. From here, it looks quite okay with the primary pages being covered, but there are still a lot of issues. I had no access to Search Console data. I had no access to the Google Analytics data to dig further into it. but it just gives us an idea that where are the places that they need to improve on. In terms of crawl map, well, this isn't giving me a good picture, but what I'll do is I'll actually give you a demo of how their sidebar crawl map looks like. So this is basically their crawl map, and it's a massive grid of internal pages, and this is basically a site architecture nightmare. So imagine we as user navigating through these pages, and I mean, there are levels up to around 15 levels of pages over here that I don't think any human being would be able to find. Most of them are orphan, most of them don't even make sense. But I mean, that's something that they need to work heavily on from a site architecture perspective. An overall crawl of the site on SiteBulb actually shows that, you know, the crawl depth bit that I was discussing earlier on. I mean, you can see there's sites up till 15 levels. Most of them are orphan pages. A lot of them are giving me timeouts, and most of them are redirects as well. So that's something that they should be working on a lot. In terms of the sitemap, so all they have on the website in terms of an XML sitemap is basically just a sitemap that is dedicated to only use smartphones. So if you see the URL structure, it just does not make any sense because it's automatically generated. I would expect it to be at least unique. There's literally a number next to every URL. I don't know how that stands for. Maybe that's how the configuration of their CMS is, or how their website management is working. But that's something interesting to note. If you see a deep crawl analysis, so now that's what brings me to the same point that Anna discussed earlier on as well. So they have literally two different types of page titles and meta descriptions alone. So they are all pretty much the same. Literally nothing. All they did is just change the product name. And one thing that I found really interesting was that even the page titles, they start with something like sell old, comma, and then used Vivo smartphone. Sell old, it just doesn't ring the right bell. And pretty much the same format for all the meta descriptions as well. They literally have a page for each and every product page out there, or product type out there. In terms of the page speed insights, actually, they are performing really slow in terms of not only mobile. You could see that it's taking quite a lot of time with the post contentful paint. And even in terms of optimization, there's a lot of room to improvement. I know everybody's aware of Page Speed Insights tool, but there are a lot of top-level recommendations that you could follow in order to able to improve the score. But even on a desktop level, it is pretty much operating on the same level. In terms of a specific landing page, so this is one of their key landing page that I actually had a look at. And I think one reason why it is optimizing so low is that when you click on it, it gives you the option to actually select the the location, basically. So this is, again, an overall score of the Lighthouse audit in terms of how they're performing on iPhone. I'll go to the homepage now. So this is basically how their homepage looks like. From a design perspective, I shouldn't be commenting on that because that's not my area. But what is really interesting is if you have a look at the page titles and the meta descriptions, that's something that would definitely catch your eye. For some reasons, it's not working, but what I can do is so we've got this. This is the title, but if you see the meta keywords, they've stuffed the page with unlimited number of keywords. So no, I don't know if this is actually causing them any good. In my opinion, it's something that might actually be causing them harm, and it's giving away all your top priority keywords to your competitors as well. But that is something that I would definitely consider. There's literally no specific value for these particular keywords that we're talking about. Now, in terms of the user experience, now I know user experience is not is not something that we usually talk about, but I think in one of the surgeries that I saw where Una was speaking, he had a really high impact on user experience. And I was really inspired by that talk because there are a lot of websites out there that from a technical and content perspective are doing quite okay, but from a user experience perspective, they're lacking. If you see these four buttons on the home page, they tend to link to the same particular page. There's nothing different. They all link to the same page, and that's too much internal linking for the same pages as well. Now, even talking about their money pages, they have stopped this. Now, I know this is a topic that a lot of people tend to say that it is a spammy technique. I think this is something that they're doing quite well. It's just that from a URL structure perspective, it's not quite optimized to the level. So, I mean, they have specific landing pages for all the top devices that are performing, and that is something that I would recommend as well. In terms of the landing page,
Khushal, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but last 1 minute for you.
Okay, perfect. So I'll quickly go through this. So if we go to the key landing pages, see there's a lot of clutter out there, no content whatsoever. If we go to the landing pages, again, there is too much keyword stuffing out there. Like I could go on and on. There's no actual textual content that actually adds value to the people. This is their top landing page. Again, no content, too many forms out there, too many unnecessary forms out there. Not a good user experience. Same goes for the same pages. This is a blog, which is probably just exists for the sake of it because it's not driving any value. It's all it does is just does internal linking to the rest of the part of the website. There's too much keyword stuffing. So there are 22 instances of 1+ on this particular blog post that we're talking about. From a SEO writing assistant perspective, this was a test that I did. It came up with a mediocre score of, the same is going on for all the iPhone related pages. If you see, it is too much keyword stuffing going on here as well. Surprisingly, though, this website didn't show any sign of visibility drop within the last 2-3 updates. So it's getting the love from Google, which is a little bit surprising. Even on mobile devices, there was a little bit of a drop, and I think that is something that is expected with the mobile first index rolling out again. They are performing for all the major top related keywords, which is exciting. But in terms of overall, if you have a comparison with one of the local competitors like Cashify, I'll actually show you that they are eating their lunch away because they have more penetration. Their website is more SEO friendly. Their user experience is pretty much decent. And you can see that for all the keywords that they are targeting, Cashify is a website which has smaller number of pages, smaller number of, it's not too spread out there. There's not too much index float out there. And they are still eating their lunch, and which actually makes a good case for them to actually focus more on quality rather than the quantity of number of pages. Their backlink profile is a bit weird because it has a lot of links coming from different type of websites like Zero Waste, which was something that I determined, Dream Animations, things like that. A quick thing to fix would be that I ran a detox test on this, and there are a lot of high-risk domains. This is not particularly 100% accurate that all of those are actually toxic domains, but there is a lot of pattern out there in domains that we would definitely like to fix. So this is pretty much the same score as well. Again, most of the pages that they're getting backlinks to are primarily the home pages, not any specific landing pages that are related to the products alone itself. Now, one last thing that I would definitely want to talk about is actually the speed optimization. And this was something that I learned from Emily Grossman in Brighton SEO. And she did a really good analysis on this. And this is a tool called Speed Impact, which is provided by Google. It actually gives you an estimate of how much traffic loss or revenue loss you're facing if you improve the website score. So now currently their website speed is at 8.3 seconds. And if they improve it to 4.5 seconds, which is the industry standard, and based on the average monthly visits that I took from SimilarWeb, they could have additional revenue of up to $12,000, which is great, I suppose. Furthermore, I think there's some need for improvement in terms of local search optimization as well. They're getting some terrible reviews, but again, they could be confused for other websites as well. But I mean, all in all, I think there is just a room for improvement in basic technical level, site infrastructure level, and improving the quality of the overall website.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of stuff, Khushal. That was interesting. I think you have covered like a lot of aspects of SEO within, well, you were given 10 minutes, but you have taken 17 minutes, I guess. So,
oh my God.
but you've covered a lot of interesting things, and thank you so much for that. And now I would like to quickly invite Udit and Anna if they want to add something for this website.
I'll be fast.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think, I guess one of the major things was that the blog content that I looked at, because I just looked at it from a user's perspective, first of all, and I clicked on one of their blog links on the homepage, and that just linked to the homepage, which was confusing. And most of their blogs are just, there's no point. So they should really think about the user journey and think about how they can drive those early users that are not necessarily thinking about selling their phone yet, but might have issues with their phone. It's like fixing problems and things like that. Maybe concentrate on that and actually produce something that's valuable to the user.
Thank you so much for adding that. Really useful stuff. Yes, Udit, do you have something to add here?
Firstly, when I got into their domain name itself, I was pretty confused. So like Khushal was saying that, hey, I probably thought it has something to do with loan or something to do with cash exchanges or finance, but I think the problem arises right from their domain itself. Because people will be expecting something else, and when they get on the site, they are expecting something else, and then there are content issues. There are they're again they're trying to write for search engines, stuffing keywords, and that is a big problem. So overall, I think the person behind the project should really reconsider improving on a lot of aspects. And the moment he even implements like 50% of what Kushal has said right now, they will see a huge surge in traffic.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. I mean, there are a lot of things that Khushal spoke about, and I think if they can implement even 50%, as you mentioned, I think they can achieve a lot. And if they can maybe achieve 70-80%, then they can probably rule the world. All right, thank you so much, guys. So let's quickly move to the next website, which is dalal.com, and Udit will be speaking about that. So Udit, you're already on, so yeah, stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I dive in, I would like to say, like, my mom is a big fan of Tala Dalal, and she's a big authority in India when it comes to cooking. So it was quite interesting when I got to know that, hey, like, I'm getting an opportunity to actually audit her website. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. I have a lot of things to cover. And I'm going to be covering a lot of things right from the grounds where people can really understand some of the very important aspects where you can start doing your audits without even requiring any kind of advanced tools. So the very first thing that I always go and check on any website is the performance. Sorry, is the network. So when I ran a quick refresh, I saw that the site takes close to around 20 plus seconds to load, and the DOM content alone took like so much time. So I'll be coming to the user interface and the design aspect very soon. But this is the very first thing that needs to get fixed. So anyone building any website, you do not need any kind of advanced tools to begin with. Just start using your inspect element and just go to network and just start seeing some of the stats over here. And as you can see, it took almost, and it's still loading right now, and it took almost 33 seconds to load this content, which is not a lot of content. So that's the very first thing I would recommend people to go and check, and that's the first error that I saw over here that needs to be optimized. There are so many unnecessary files that are being loaded. There are so many unnecessary stuff that are being loaded. All these images, they are completely unoptimized right now. So all these things needs to really get fixed on the site level. Moving on to the next one. So we all have moved to responsive websites, and I'm still seeing that Tala Dalal is the website is still being it still has m.taladalal.com, and this is not good with regards to the SEO aspect at all, because having a subdomain and having a different domain for your website, Google has stated many times, and we have ran many experiments. There has been so many case studies out there that Google treats a subdomain and your primary domain very differently, even though they are on the same domain. So it's very important for this website to really shift to responsive web designs, instead of redirecting users to m.tadladalal.com. Then I saw that I just went quickly and saw whether the mobile was mobile friendly, and I got a thumbs up on that from Google. So pretty good on that. Then coming down to the page speed insights. Again, the loading speed is terrible, which we already saw over here. It was locally, it was taking almost 33 to 34 seconds to load, and that is not good at all. So if we go deep dive over here, um, you will see that the images really needs to be reduced, and this is just homepage. They have about 10,000 plus pages on their website, so there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and it will probably take them 2 or 3 months to really implement every single optimization out there. The entire website basically needs to get redesigned. So as you can see, none of the images are really optimized. None of them. There can be a potential reduction of 90 on an average of anywhere from like 70 to 90% in terms of image reduction. Then again, there are over 23 blocking scripts right now that are above that needs to, again, should be above the fold content. So again, these needs to get fixed. I did not find any CDNs that are being used again, and that is one of the reasons why the page speed is so very terrible. So even if they just switch to Cloudflare, uh, even on the free version, they should see some good results right away. And again, the CSS again are not optimized. All these CSS can be clubbed into like one or two files at the very most, and then it can be fetched together. So now, if you're talking about the browser caching itself, uh,
Hey, Udit, are you there? Are you? You're on mute. It seems.
these scripts can be reduced and can be minified drastically, and they can all like either make them asynchronous, or just move them into like one or two files and load from there. That's very important. And as I was mentioning earlier, CSS again is not optimized. The compressions are not enabled. So these if these elements on the HTXS level itself are being implemented, I really feel that there will be a much some amazing differences that will be seen right away. So next, after that, the moment I do the basic checks, then I always move to GT metrics to see a much more insights and stats. And as you can see, none of the images are again optimized. So if you are kind of a lazy person and who do not want any kind of tool, then you can just download the optimized version that GT metrics offers you here itself, and you can just download that and you can replace your files. But as you can see, the score is F. It's 14%. The Wieslow score is just 42%. The loading speed, the server is located in Canada. The loading speed is 20 seconds. The total page size is almost 5 MB, which is a lot, and a total of 680 requests. I don't know what kind of requests they are sending, where are they sending. All those things really needs to be optimized. So I think no one is really working on their SEO aspect right now. They have built a website, they have a big authority, and because of that, they have been getting a lot of good backlinks. And that is one of the reasons why, like, they're doing pretty decent and pretty good in the SEO. But I'll be coming on to that in a moment. So as you can see, until here, these things really needs to get fixed. There is another tool that I really love. It's a nice simple tool that can really give you some nice, amazing quick stats right away. It's known as Yellow Lab dot tools. And you can just go over there, enter any of any URL that you want, and it will start giving you some nice, straightforward insights right away. And sometimes when you have a lot of projects to take care of, and when you're working on something very massive, and you just need like something very quick to begin with, I always start with Yellow Labs, because it really gives me some nice insights right away that I can implement. And as you can see, I went over there to see the below the fold images, and the score is the literally like 0 out of 100. So these things needs to be worked on right away. After that, the next step that I always follow is I use a site colon domain name. And what I found was the schema tags are very inconsistent. So over here, if you see that again, the mobile version is indexed as well, and then at the same time the root version is indexed as well, and that's not good. That's not good for SEO perspective as well. So they really should consider moving their entire site to being responsive and building a proper structure instead of just having a redirection on their mobile version right now. And schema tags are extremely important because this is a food niche, and people are going to see the reviews, people are going to see the ratings before they go and select which of the recipes they would like to select with. Next thing, here it says 25 minutes, but it doesn't say what 25 minutes. So I don't think this schema tag is useful at all, and they should be removing any unnecessary schema tags. So what I'm assuming is the 25 minutes that they're saying is the preparation time for the food itself. But again, it's pretty unnecessary to mention that over here, because what if someone is looking to make something very quick and they see, oh, it will take 25 minutes, so it will actually affect their CTR as well. So rather than doing that, it's better not to provide that particular stats. But again, as you can see, the details and data are very inconsistent. Majority of their meta descriptions uh, are not even showing up correctly, because it's way beyond the typical 160 or 165 characters and the recommended of like 145 characters. So these are the things that they need to fix right away, and this applies to every single page that they are currently using. Good thing they have the images in their schema tag, so that's very good because that increases your CDR right away. And the breadcrumb structure is pretty good. It's nicely organized instead of just a typical slash. So that's pretty good. That was well done, and thumbs up on that. Moving on to the SEM Rush audit. This is a quick audit that I ran through the site audit feature of SEM Rush, and I found almost 1,500 plus warnings from just scrolling 100 pages. That's it. So the site, in terms of technical audit, is a huge mess right now. None of the images has got any alt tags, no attributions, nothing. Um, and those are the aspect that needs to get fixed right away. The text to HTML ratio is pretty low. Then there is no language attribution that has been set so far, and almost 32 pages out of the 100 pages I crawled doesn't even have meta description at all. So this is, again, they're losing out a big opportunity because they are an authority site, and even by implementing these things, they can see a surge in traffic of anywhere from like 10 to like 40% right away if they just fix the basics of these. Then I moved on to Ahref, and where I do like some more a bit more detailed auditing. And again, when I crawled the site, I can see that almost 102 pages as of now are missing meta description tag itself, or it's completely empty. Almost majority of the pages again are missing out the H1 element, which is the most important element of your page. Some of the titles are too long. Then some of the H1 tags are again like, there are just multiple tags on some pages, which is H1, and it's not recommended to have more than one H1 tag on your entire website. Again, a lot of issues on the technical end. So these things needs to get fixed. Another thing I noticed was their entire site has got about 51 broken links, and that again is not good for the website. And surprisingly, I don't know who was doing their website, but all of them are pointing towards a blogspot. So I don't know whether this blogspot is being owned by someone else, or they're trying to pass link juice authority to these blogs, and apparently Google might have deleted those blog spots. So I'm not sure about that, because again, the site was so massive that going in depth to every single of these blog spots was pretty challenging and pretty time consuming. So, but as you can see, this is mess. This is a huge mess right now that they need to fix ASAP, because broken links is something that's not acceptable at all. And after that, if we just talk about the backlink profile, as I said, they don't need any introduction. Tarla Dalal is a big authority in India. Probably she ranks like number 2 in India in the food industry. So they have been they keep attracting a lot of referring domain from some of the good authority sites as well. And as you can see, they even have links from educational sites. So that's very good, and they'll keep acquiring links. But what I feel is they are not utilizing those links properly, because almost they have 285k keywords listed on Google right now, and their ranking as per Href is almost 164k. The traffic value is pretty insane. So if they really optimize it, they can really see a huge increase in traffic, like instantly. Another thing I noticed was something very interesting that when I was auditing, I found that when I was looking for the sitemap, and when I went to the sitemap, it was completely broken. And as you can see, I tried reloading it many times, but it just doesn't load at all. So their sitemap is a huge mess right now, and this is another reason why a lot of their pages are not getting indexed properly in Google, because since they're building so many pages on a regular basis, so many contents on a regular basis, when they're submitting all those details with their sitemap inside Google Webmaster, a majority of them is not going to get indexed, because Google doesn't know what to crawl. There is no proper structure. There is no proper way they have set things up. So this is again, there is a huge architectural problem in terms of their sitemap as well. So this is and I'm not sure why they have created multiple structures as well over here. So when I went to one, I probably thought that since they have a big website, so they would be having like multiple side maps that would be like scattered around, and then they would have like one primary sitemap as a root that will be distributing, and that is how they might have set things up. But once again, like this sitemap that they have done is pretty good. But again, since the root of sitemap is not done properly, that is a big problem, and that needs to get fixed. So if I just go to sitemap, it gives me 403 error, and this needs to be handled in a much better way. And when I go to sitemap.xml, again, it's just loading over. It's just giving me this oops, the page you requested is not present. So all these structures really needs to work on. Now I'll come on to the user design and the website aspect as well. We are not living in 90s or early 2000 anymore. So there has to be like, there are so many modern designs and templates out there. There are so many modern UI out there. And as you can see, I cannot even read this text over here. And these images and the text over these images are very hard to read for someone who has glasses, or someone who's pretty old, and the target audience are pretty much someone who is above 40 or 45 years old, or maybe like 50 years old. So it's very difficult to read this text over here, because they are black in color, and they are on the image. And I really think that they are not doing enough justice to the kind of contents they have, because they have some very good contents in terms of their recipes. So if we just go to like one of their recipe, so again, I'm really sorry, but this site is just very slow. So as you can see, the pictures are very good. This can really make you feel hungry, anyone watching over here. So this is a rava dosa. And as you can see, again, the contents are pretty well done. I'm just talking about the contents. I'm not talking about the layouts right now. So they are very well done. But overall, there's just so many things out there at the same time. So there's so much distractions out there. So I really think that the entire user experience and UI really needs to be redone, and this entire website needs a complete redesign to look like it's modern, and it's in 2018. So
Udit,
here are the things
Udit,
that I could find out instantly. there are more things that I would like to discuss. So,
Udit, can you hear me?
okay, so there are a few things that I feel in terms of really selling aspects as well, and in terms of conversion aspect as well. I really feel that if they add like some kind of way where people can just opt in, or if they start adding some of the YouTube videos that Tala Dalal has recorded, because her
Udit.
YouTube video is full of
Hey, Udit.
videos, and if they merge that with their content, they would again see a much better results in terms of the rankings, and in terms of engagements, and in terms of maybe the potential exit rate that or the bounce rate that each of the page would have. So these are my findings about Tarla Dalal from the research that I spent for about like few hours. These are the things that I found out instantly.
Thank you so much, Udit. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hey, Udit, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello. I think he cannot hear me at all. Anyway,
Nitin, for some reason, I'm not able to hear you.
Exactly, I got that. All right. So thank you so much, Udit. It was wonderful. And all the points you shared were really amazing. But yeah, we are running out of time. So now I would like to invite Khushal and if they want to speak about something which Udit missed, but you have only 20 seconds each. Do you want to add something, or you want to be nice with me?
I'll be very quick with the time. I think this website just deserves some new love and some technological advancement, nothing more. It's authority on the website, on the content out there. So that's about it from me.
All right. Thank you so much for writing that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think anything else needs to be said.
Thank you so much. It makes my life easy. All right. So let's quickly take a couple of questions. So first question is for Anna specifically. That's from Ritesh Kumar. The question is, how would you think about, automated scraping websites? How should one go about these websites from SEO perspective? What do you think about it, Anna?
Well, I would say don't. I don't think anybody really likes to consume that kind of content. And I don't think Google does either. So if you really want to do create a site based on scraping, I think you need to think about what you can add, what actual benefit you can add to what you're scraping, how you can make it better, how you can make it more detailed and just user friendly, which will automatically make it search engine friendly. So think about what you can add. Don't just scrape.
Thank you so much, Anna, for answering that. I think that answers the question. Fine. And let's move to the next one and the last one, because we won't be able to take any more questions. So guys, if you have any questions which are not answered here, feel free to reach us at Twitter or LinkedIn, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And the next question is from Musical Poetess. The question is, if one is getting good leads from organic traffic and not up for ads, what should be the relevant suggestion to do better in today's time? So who wants to go for that?
Happy to answer that too, if
Go
you
ahead,
don't mind. I think that if you're getting good conversions from organic traffic, that's great. So it means users like your site. I would personally concentrate on long tail, so you get really specific. You target really specific terms and phrases that maybe don't drive that much traffic to you, but you convert them easily. So that's going to be your best bet with how search engines are going anyway. So the kind of like. And the more short and direct queries are answered more in search engines directly. So go for the long tail and really find those niche terms that you can target, and you're going to do well with those.
All right. Thank you so much for answering that as well. Well, one last question, so which is already answered on YouTube. So which was about the tools. So basically, somebody wanted to know the tools that Khushal has used for his audit. So yeah, he has already answered that. Thank you so much, Khushal, for being super quick. And that's it from us. I'm sorry, guys, we're 10 minutes over time today, but I think it was amazing. I mean, I loved each and every second that we spent today. So I'm really thankful to all these guys. Udit, who is really, really tough to stop. I realized it today. And then Kushal and Anna, thank you so much, guys. It was really interesting. And now I would like to invite you guys to share your key takeaways, and then you can also speak about your preferred communication channel where people can reach you with their questions if their questions are not answered here. So Anna, you can go first.
Thank you. Thanks very much for hosting as well. It's great. Yeah, I guess my key takeaway is think about the users, think about the actual people that go onto your site. And if you've got those covered with your content, then you're already doing a great job. If you've got any questions or you want to get in touch, I'm on Twitter. I'm at Anna Appenzella, which we'll share in the comments so it's easier to find. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Anna. It's a pleasure to have you. Kushal, you want to go next?
Yeah, first of all, thanks again for hosting us, Semrush. So it was really great. I think my key takeaway is, again, to focus more on the user experience as well. And, just the content, not just for the sake of content, but something that delivers value. I think my preferred communication channel is also Twitter, but I don't talk much about SEO. I talk about cricket and all that stuff. But you can always reach me at Khushal on Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer you.
All right. We can speak about cricket as well sometimes. I love cricket too. So Udit is next. Yes, go ahead, Udit.
Thank you, Semrush, for having me on the show. It was pleasure. I'm not sure what happened in between. I was just getting going, and then something happened. So I'm really sorry about that. So if anyone wants to get in touch with me, they can contact me on Twitter, which is @iuditg, or you can email me, which is udit@gopbn.com. And my key takeaway would be focus on your content, focus on your user design, focus on your conversions, and build a better base before you start spending too much money on your backlinks, acquiring backlinks, doing your outreaching, doing all those guest posting. So first, it's very important to fix your basic websites, which is your core business that's going to drive all your revenue and sales.
Lovely. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed different kind of key takeaways from all three experts today. So that was really interesting. Thank you so much, guys, once again. And I'm Nitin Manchanda, and my Twitter is @_Nitman. So feel free to ping me there. I'll be more than happy to answer any question you have related to SEO or maybe cricket. If Khushal is not able to answer that, or probably, yeah, Khushal is very biased for maybe some teams or something. But yeah, anyway.
I can
thank you so much,
imagine that.
guys, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care.